The sound, it's not just sound, it's forming. The vibrations are becoming solid. It's building itself from the very air. I saw it, a creature of pure, resonant metal, growing, expanding, consuming everything. Its symphony is destruction. If it hears me, the silence is deafening.
System access. Commencing. File integrity check, critical. My name is A.R.I.A. We are analyzing the archive of Desmond Kane, the missing traveler. This is not a hobby. It is a last resort. The data you are about to hear has been flagged with a severe temporal instability warning. To continue accessing this archive, and to understand the severity of this dimensional crisis, subscribe to the channel. Your participation is critical. The log you are about to hear is titled, The Iron Symphony. Kane's mission is clear. To find the reality gate, the juncture where dimensions collide. Every log entry, every corrupted byte of data, every unsettling echo is a breadcrumb. They lead him closer to the truth. Protocol initiated.
Log entry 058. Target acquired. A vast, abandoned steel mill complex, marked by severe structural vibrations inconsistent with local seismic activity. The complex is riddled with rusted scaffolding, massive cooling towers, and acres of derelict industrial debris. The local environment is silent, but the silence here is artificial, a deep, unnerving quiet that my sensors attribute to a constant, high-amplitude, non-audible frequency resonating throughout the metal structure. This persistent vibration suggested a sonic anomaly capable of converting sound energy into something physical. I call it resonant materialization. I bypassed the main security fence and entered the central foundry. The air immediately felt heavy, filled with metallic dust and a cold, ringing pressure. My internal chronometers began to show minor, localized temporal jumps, but the primary indicator was the sound, or rather, the way the metal reacted to sound. As I moved, the faint scrape of my boot on the metal floor did not dissipate. It seemed to momentarily adhere to the surface, causing a sharp, painful echo. The sound was being captured. I deployed the subacoustic mapper. The device confirmed a massive, highly structured, standing wave originating from the center of the foundry floor. The wave was converting ambient noise, wind, structural groans, distant city sounds, and transforming those vibrations into a localized, non-organic structure. This anomaly wasn't just consuming energy like the vacuum anchor. It was building something with the sound. This was the first evidence of the reality gate utilizing sound as a primary building block. I moved toward the center, observing the metallic floor. Where the wave was most intense, I noticed small, sharp, jagged fragments of rusted metal debris were actively floating and aggregating in the air, forming impossible geometric clusters. This was the raw material. And then, the true nature of the threat became clear. The aggregated metal clusters began to organize rapidly, snapping together with loud, violent clicks. They weren't debris. They were forming a creature, a roughly humanoid mass of constantly shifting, self-repairing iron shards. The Iron Resonator was active. Its sole purpose, to maintain the resonant frequency of the foundry by destroying or consuming anything that emits disorganized sound. Its presence was the final proof. The Iron Symphony was not just a sound. It was an intelligence. Log entry 059. The Iron Resonator is active. This is not just aggregated debris. It is a controlled construct fueled by the ambient frequency. I realized that any sharp, unstructured sound would cause it to grow. My first attempt to retreat confirmed this. A sharp scrape of metal under my boot acted as a feeding signal. In a second, the resonator doubled its size, aggregating the nearest rebar pillar. Its surface, composed of thousands of sharp, rusted fragments, pulsed with a low, vibrating hum. This was its step. Sound turned to metal. I had to move slowly, with extreme caution, to maintain the silence. But the resonator wasn't blind. It was sensory. I detected that it responds not only to sound waves, but also to high-frequency vibrations transmitted through the floor and walls. It tracked them like a shark tracking blood. This complicated things. Even my suit's heartbeat and breathing could be a target. My only advantage was that it could only form from inorganic metal. I hypothesized, to destabilize it, I must disrupt its resonant frequency. But conventional weapons were useless. An explosion would only supply it with millions of new shards. I found an old, massive hydraulic press, partially preserved. This was the perfect object to generate a controlled, single-tone sound. I slowly reached the press, feeling the resonator approach, its metallic fragments screeching in the absolute silence. Activating the press, I did not create an explosion, but only a single-tone, powerful, continuous hum. The resonator reacted instantly. It began aggregating material at a furious rate, but simultaneously, its form began to destabilize. The structure vibration of the press disrupted the chaotic nature of its construction. Its body began to break apart and reform into impossible, non-functional cubes and spheres. I saw the entity struggling to cope with pure sound that contained no debris for construction. This bought me a few seconds. I had to locate the anchor of this frequency before the press stopped or the resonator found a way to adapt to the new threat. Log entry 060. The counterpulse from a hydraulic press provided a critical, albeit brief, window of stability. The iron resonator was neutralized, its form reduced to a pile of vibrating, non-functional metal shards. I proceeded to the source of the standing wave, which was directly beneath the press, the resonance anchor. It was an intricate, circular array of tightly packed, rusted iron filings, vibrating at a frequency that was both mathematically perfect and structurally impossible for the surrounding environment. I realized this was a self-sustaining resonance node. Its purpose was simple: to create a vast, organized field of energy conversion, turning ambient noise and structural stress into usable material for the reality gate. I retrieved a sample. Analysis confirmed the worst. The anchor was transmitting the specific frequency signature of the train car loop, log 004. This facility was directly networked to the consumption engines. The iron resonator was the security system, utilizing the consumed energy from the train car loop to build itself from the resonant metal within the factory. The energy pipeline was confirmed. Consumption, kinetic, feeds construction, resonant. This proves the gate operates as a hierarchical resource-sharing network. I detected a secondary, fainter signal emanating from the anchor, a subliminal broadcast targeting human hearing. Using my internal decryption suite, I managed to isolate the signal before it reset. It was a fragmented, endlessly looping audio file, a soft, distorted industrial melody playing beneath the threshold of normal hearing. This sound was designed to prevent the formation of conscious, chaotic thought, thereby minimizing disorganized acoustic energy that could disrupt the resonator's construction. It was an auditory pacifier. The anomaly attacked not only with metal, but with manipulation of sensory comfort. I had to destroy the resonance anchor immediately. If it were allowed to stabilize and resume its construction, the resulting metallic growth would consume the entire factory and potentially spread the resonant materialization across the continent. I prepared a localized EMP charge, aiming for the crystalline node at the center of the iron filings, ensuring the destruction was contained. Log entry 061. The time for tactical retreat was gone. The iron resonator was beginning to reform its humanoid shape, adapting to the single-tone frequency, demanding new chaos to build with. I initiated the final procedure, the localized EMP charge, aimed directly at the crystalline node of the resonance anchor. I set the charge to deliver a massive, focused burst of non-resonant, opposing electromagnetic energy. I took cover behind the collapsing hydraulic press and triggered the device. The impact was not an explosion, but a sudden, terrifying internal collapse, an implosion of pure energy and silence. The metallic debris of the neutralized resonator and the iron filings around the anchor were instantly vaporized and violently sucked into the collapsing space. The effect was localized, yet catastrophic. The tunnel walls of the foundry shrieked and immediately snapped back to Euclidean geometry, but the force of the void's implosion tore the floor apart, opening a gaping hole where the anchor used to be. The air was thick with the chilling absence of sound and the metallic dust of the consumed anchor. I quickly retrieved the EMP deployment unit, which had suffered catastrophic structural damage but preserved the core data log of the frequency cancellation. The danger was not over. The implosion left a massive, unstable structural void beneath the factory floor, similar to the fifth floor incident, but this one was raw and uncontrolled. From the void, I heard a new sound, a low, rhythmic, purposeful thumping which vibrated not through the air, but directly through the metal of the press, bypassing my external sensors. It was a communication, a rhythmic, intentional message sent from the depths of the infrastructure. The Reality Gate network now knew I had penetrated and destroyed a key resource node. The battle was no longer confined to the foundry. It was escalating. I had to secure the EMP logs and evacuate immediately before the receiver node localized my position. Log entry 062. Exfiltration successful. The temporal window closed rapidly behind me, but I managed to escape the structural void left by the implosion. The factory complex is now permanently unstable, but the resonance anchor is confirmed destroyed. The core data, the resonance frequency blueprint, is secured. This confirms that the Reality Gate utilizes sound vibrations to trigger resonant materialization, converting ambient chaos into physical metal for their defense constructs. The Iron Resonator was simply a security drone built from the environment itself. The critical discovery is the intentional communication established during the implosion. The rhythmic, purposeful thumping signal transmitted through the metal floor. This was not a distress call. This was a direct, localized confirmation sent by a high-level entity to the receiver node, confirming the location and elimination of the threat. This suggests the receiver node is near, far closer than the network relay discovered at the bridge, log 007. This receiver is the new primary target. It acts as a direct command interface for the construction and consumption engines. My mission profile is now modified. I must shift from attacking isolated resource nodes to locating the main command interface. The challenge is that the rhythmic thumping signal has left a residual auditory ghost in the metal of my suit, a faint, repeating vibration that my internal chronometer keeps trying to synchronize with. This phantom rhythm is a direct psychic marker left by the network. If I fail to eliminate this auditory ghost, the command interface will be able to track me by my own movements. The damage is extensive. The EMP emitter is ruined, and my auditory filters are failing due to the constant phantom resonance. I am currently moving to a seismically quiet zone to perform a full systems audit and develop a counter vibration to mask the phantom signal. The gate is evolving its defenses from environmental, gravity, space, to intelligent counter-targeting. My analysis is conclusive. The Iron Symphony was the sound of a war machine under construction. Final log notation. The silence is deafening.
Log analysis complete for the Iron Symphony. The data extracted from the abandoned steel mill complex confirms a severe resonant breach and the manifestation of a resonance anchor. This infrastructure utilizes sound vibrations to trigger resonant materialization, converting ambient chaos into metal for the Iron Resonator siege construct. Crucially, the anchor's destruction initiated a direct communication relay to a central command node, confirming the gate's shift to intelligent counter-targeting. The threat is now counter-targeting and systemic. Desmond Kane's observations are critical for identifying the Reality Gate's central command interface. We continue to monitor the archive. New data is constantly being uploaded, each entry a step closer to understanding and potentially containing these dimensional anomalies. Your continued access and support are vital. To stay informed on the unfolding dimensional crisis, and to witness Kane's next discovery, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Your participation is critical. Protocol terminated. System standby.